Hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Friday lunchtime, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with feelings. And I'm pretty sure that we have lots to talk about today. And my feeling was somewhat frustrated when I went to go and make my coffee. And I don't know if you can see, that is a bottle of salted caramel flavoring. What do they call it? Sugar-free. And I just opened it up fresh. And it was so full that when I put the plunger thing in it, it spilled salted caramel everywhere. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'd left that for the broadcast, 2 hours later, that sticky mess would have been horrific to clean up. So I just went, breathe, clean it up, and then do the broadcast. So there we are. I had a feeling of zen for a moment, and now I've got a really nice cup of coffee. So, welcome to everybody. If you're new to the broadcast, DearMamaSal is a group of people who get together 3 times a week, and we hold each other's hands as we go through life. And the very first thing I want to say is hi to Jody. Jody is our admin, and Jody went through a gastric bypass surgery on Monday. And here she is helping us and being our admin on Friday. Jody, absolutely amazing news. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, but I wondered whether you'd be good enough to just give me today's update so that I can share that with the people who might watch this on the replay. And the reason I say that is I know that every day your update changes, all right, in terms of what you have done. So, you know, I know that you're still on liquids. How is the pain level on a scale of 1 to 10? How is your ability to move? You know, are you noticing any positive changes, towards better health? And then, by the way, I decided that today I would do all the quotes about health because it is just amazing what you have done. And as you know, I've got some health updates as well to share with everybody. So I want to start off with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "It is health that is real wealth, not pieces of gold and silver." And I want us all to remember that we need to be forever grateful for whatever health we may have. We might not have the health that we wish, but we need to be grateful for the health that we have and to deal with it and get the best out of it and do what we can to prolong our health. And in Jody's case, prolong her life. When I first met Jody, she was on a downhill slide and it wasn't going towards health, that's for sure. It was going towards, if I may be so blunt, a box that she'd be leaving the room in. So to me, to get that mentality of, hey, I may not have perfect health, but I can do what I can with what I've got. And I think, that is a mentality that I have, right? Let me do the best I can with what I've got, whatever that's about, whether it's my money, whether it's about my friends, maybe it's about my health, all those things. I like to try and do the best I can with it. All right, so Jody is saying today's update, the powdered Tylenol finally arrived. Yay! I'm taking more steps each day. The pain is about a level 4 or 5. That is amazing and under good control. No feeling of hunger, but I'm getting 60 grams of protein a day. All right, so that is amazing news that your pain level is down to a 4 or 5. Now, I know you're on some pretty good drugs to control that, but carry on just being grateful for that. To me, it's just amazing that you are at that level. So you're saying if you're taking a few more steps each day, how many are you up to? I would really like us to to be able to travel this real journey with you as you learn how to exercise your body again. So I know that you can make it to the washroom. If that's not too much information for everybody. But you know what I'm interested in is, you know, as you develop those muscles again, and as you lose some of that weight, which is obviously going to happen now with this liquid diet that you're on, you know, it'll be really interesting to see how your strength comes back. So if you wouldn't mind, Jody, because you know, it's all about me, right? I want to know. So I really would like to travel that journey with you. All right, so Jody's saying, I haven't put my watch back on since surgery, but I'll do it today so we can step count every day. Yes, please. And I don't care if you start with, 500. Well, even if that might be a huge amount. I don't care what you start at. But let's record it, Jody. And then, God willing, a year from now, let's see how you've succeeded. Now, it's very selfish on my part. But I do want to tell you that that you did motivate me this week on something, and I'll talk about that in a second. So here's the thing. You know, Jody, it's been an incredible journey to walk with you in terms of your progress so far. And thank you for sharing it all with us so that we could really be aware of what you're up to and how you're doing it, because I think it's pretty amazing. I saw this quote, and I'm not sure if I've read it to you before, but I thought it was so important for us all this week. And that is this. Explain your anger. Don't express it. And you will immediately open the door to solutions instead of arguments. Explain your anger. Now, the reason I say that is I'm pretty sure that we all have moments of anger in our week, that feeling of anger. And remember, if we have feelings, it's on us, right? It's our interpretation of what is going on. And so, I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about some things that made me angry this week. But also, what I want to explain to you is that I think it was perfectly healthy for me to feel angry on those occasions. And so to me, it is really an important thing to remember that feeling anger is, I have learned how to use that to my good. And I'll talk about that as well. So Jody is giving me more credit than I deserve. She's saying, I wouldn't be here without your amazing support. Well, Jody, it's not stopping now, I can tell you that. And I want to tell you that it's a two-way trade, right? And you remember that your support of me, always fascinates me, how you do that. And in terms of just general stuff today, I wanted to tell you, you probably noticed I'm not wearing my usual hot weather top, type top, The temperature has plummeted. Yeah, this is British Columbia. What can I say? The temperature has plummeted to 68. We've had temperatures up in the near 40s. Now it's at 40 centigrade, which is, very hot. Hang on. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. No. Let me think here. Anyway, we've had temperatures really hot, over 100 in my window here. Actually, my window got up to 120 and Fahrenheit. So it's been really hot. And now suddenly it's below 70 inside the house. Now, my house hasn't been below 88 for the longest time. Thank you, Jody. 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Thank you. it hasn't been below 88 in my kitchen for the longest time. And suddenly, let me see what it is right now. Ah. It's a pathetic 75. I mean, really. So, and I'm grateful in a way. It's actually quite nice. But I actually thought, I think I'm going to put on a real top today because I think I might be a bit cool if I put on what do you call it? Tank top. Yeah, so that was it. All right, this is an Arabian proverb, and I thought you would enjoy this. He or she who has health has hope, and he or she who has hope has everything. How about that? How many of you agree with that one? That we need to protect our health. And if we can, then we also will protect our ability to look forward to the future. I want to also, in today's broadcast, thank the incredible viewer who, I don't know what her name is on her screen name, but I do know that her name is Lynn, and I do know that she has great joy in making thumbnails for me. And I don't know if you saw the fun thumbnail that was on the broadcast for today, but thank you so much. And, it's just like, it is, every now and then she'll create one, and then she got upset because her computer needed replacing and she wouldn't be able to make me anymore. And I just went, okay, fine. I can make my own if necessary. And, it was so cute because suddenly this week she popped up and she went, how do you like this one? So obviously her new computer has new abilities. So big thanks from us all. I would say that because I don't know about you, but when I saw it, I smiled. It made me chuckle. And I think anything that makes us chuckle is a good thing, right? I wanted to just give you, in terms of thoughts and prayers, and celebrations and things, I'm not aware of it being anybody's birthday this week. And if it is, or a major celebration week, if it is your birthday or a major celebration for you and your regular viewer, please let me know so that at DearMamaSal@gmail.com, so we can add it to our list and make sure we do what we can to celebrate with you when you have these days. I wanted to let you know that I did go to the doctor this week, and as some of you know, that I had a series of tests done last week. And I got the results back, and there were a couple of areas that were a bit iffy, but basically it looked okay. The good news was that even though I had a surprise A1C test, I managed to pass that one. And in fact, my doctor said, your A1C was 6, and that's good. And I went, wow, I thought that was high for me. But he said it was good. So I went, okay. And then he said that the problem areas, you can see I'm doing this with my pen. I actually have lost, I just want to say that I have lost enough weight now around my waist that I'm having a lot of problem keeping my pants and shorts up. Which is a good thing. So, Jody, I relate to the fact that we're going to need to get new clothes if we carry on this path, which we will. So I will be going to find new clothes pretty soon. Yeah, I was, something, I actually decided that I would take I'm beginning to get a bit of definition back here. Now, I'm still obese. But, somewhere or another, the weight is shifting around, and it's a good thing. And I'm going to carry on. To carry on with the story, though, what happened was that when I went last week, before I had the test done, he took my blood pressure, and it was high. And just so that you've got some sort of context, my blood pressure normally is about 130/70. That's 132 maybe, but it's in that range. Every like month in, month out, year in, year out, 130 over 70, 75 maybe, somewhere in there. And last week when I went, it was 160 over 80. And obviously that was higher than he wanted. And so what happened was he took it twice and then said, this is the first time you've had your blood pressure taken for quite a while. If you think about it, it's been over a year since I had my blood pressure taken. And so come back next week when we'll talk about the results and we'll check it again. So we did check it again. And guess what? I want to tell you, he went to put that sleeve on me and he pumped it up. And, there is a difference between the pressure of a blood pressure cuff, on your arm, and seriously painful. And I'm not a wuss. I don't mind telling you that. I don't think I'm a wuss. And that thing got tight, and then it got uncomfortable, and then it got downright painful, enough that it brought tears to my eyes. And then he said to me, "Oh, well, it's still 150 over something." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Okay." And then he said, "Well, let's wait a bit and we'll take it again and see how it is." So I said, "Okay." And he was busy doing stuff and chit-chatting a bit. And then about 5 minutes later, he took it again. And the next time it was up to 160 over 85. So both numbers increased. And I said, "I'm not surprised." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you hurt me the first time. I mean, seriously hurt me. And so my body was in stress. And then it was in fear that you would hurt me again. So I'm not surprised it went up, quite honestly." Now, he didn't like that. I got to be quite honest. He didn't like that. But, I was angry. And what I decided was to talk about why I was angry rather than just keep it inside. Do you know what I mean? It's like all too often we get angry about something and we don't verbalize the reason for it. Now, if you notice, I wasn't rude to him. I just said, "I'm not surprised. You hurt me. And I'm not used to you hurting me. You've taken my blood pressure many times and it's, it's been uncomfortable, but it's a bit like a mammogram. It's not fun, but it should not be so painful that it brings tears to your eyes, right?" And so to me, it was an important moment. And so I found it very challenging. I left that meeting with my doctor not a happy camper, and I don't think I have ever had that feeling before. Hi there, Erit. Shalom. Good to see you. However, I ended up with a prescription for high blood pressure pills. So I stopped in at my pharmacy and, no, I didn't. I lie. I actually went home and I took a picture of the prescription and I sent it to the pharmacy because it was, by the time I got home and everything was sorted out, it was after 5 o'clock. So I thought I'll just send them the picture of the prescription and they can fill it tomorrow and let me know. And so I said, "Here it is, and give me a call tomorrow. Send me a text tomorrow when it's ready." And I'm not joking. Within about 10 minutes, I got a text back saying, "Your prescription is ready." And I said, "Wow, I didn't expect that level of service on after 5 o'clock." And it turns out that they are open until 6 o'clock at night. I didn't know that. So anyway, as it was, I went the next day and got the pills. Now, I want to tell you, for those of you who don't know about high blood pressure pills, One of the things that I am very aware of is that they can have an effect on your dizziness, on your equilibrium, on all sorts of things. So if you end up having to take them, just take them and be very aware for the first week of the reaction your body is having to them, because it's a very important thing. Now, obviously, I don't want to be doing too much driving or doing anything like that until I got my body used to taking these pills. So I thought I would just mention that as a health suggestion to you. I would say the same of any other major pill that you take for the first time. Now, actually, to me, to be fair, this is not the first time I've been on high blood pressure medication. Last time I managed to change my living habits quite a bit and got off them. Now, I got a little bit angry because I'm going, how come I went through all the fire and everything else and all the rest of it, and only now is my blood pressure up? I went through all the unpacking and packing and unpacking, all of that, and only now is my blood pressure up. Can any of you relate to that? That made me frustrated. And then I stopped and thought, how do you know? And I could hear my inner voice going, what? And I said, how do you know? You haven't had your blood pressure taken in over a year. So you don't know that maybe after the fire and after all of that, your blood pressure has been up all the time and you just haven't known about it. Makes sense. So I have decided for the first time, I am actually going to get myself a blood pressure machine, cuff of my own, so I can keep track of my blood pressure and not have those surprises. So did anybody have any feelings of achievement this week? While you are typing that, I thought I would let you know, well, obviously Jodi's got some major achievement, but Jodi, what was the major achievement for you, that you got out of hospital within 24 hours? I mean, that was mind-blowing. And how did she do that? Let me tell you how she did that. She made sure that she knew before she went into hospital what would she need to do in order for them to go, okay, you have met these different milestones, therefore you can go home. Now, normally those milestones take 3 days. And Jodi, I totally, I smiled when you when you told me within 24 hours that you were home already, because we have a very similar personality about hospitals, right? And I think that I ended up one stage with 17 stitches right the way down my stomach, from sort of, where is it? From about here to here. And, I was home. I was home within 48 hours, I think. And even then, it was so funny because I remember that my friend was with me, and the surgeon walked in, and he said, "I hear that you are busy walking a city block so you can have a cigarette. I understand that you have done this, and this." And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, you know something? I know you pretty well, and I know that you will be more frustrated here than you will be if you go home. So if you promise not to work, I will send you home." And my friend was next to me, and she looked at him and said, "I thought surgeons were meant to be clever." And he said, "I beg your pardon." And she said, "I thought surgeons, by virtue of it, were meant to be smart." And he said, "Meaning?" He said, "If you think Sal's not going to be working by this afternoon, you can think again." Hi, Trina. Good to see you. And the surgeon looked at me, Jody, and he said, "You're not going to be working by this afternoon, are you?" I said, "No, I'll probably wait until tomorrow." So, Jody, I know that regardless of what you have told people about the fact that you're not working, hello. And I want to say that you are an inspiration to, so many of us, because you just get on with life, right? So many other people, when they have something like that happen, they just want to lie around and be waited on hand and foot and do this and do that. And that's not who you are, So I'm just so proud of you. This is your happy place. I know it's mine too. All right. And Trina, give us some news, please. And Jody, please remind me to update the viewers on how Trina's doing afterwards. Trina, give us some updates so that I can post them after the broadcast for viewers on Facebook and things, just so they know. Yeah, it's amazing, really. And I think the interesting thing, Trina, is going to be her journey from this point onwards. And, Jody, if you think about it, you had cancer and you overcame it. You had then got hit with lymphedema and you have got that under control. By the way, I wanted to ask you about the lymphedema. Does that go away? I mean, is that something you recover from, or is it something that you end up having for the rest of your life? Jody's saying, I'm making pizza for Lionel tomorrow. My goal is to be able to press the dough in a pan. Right. So you already had the dough made, and now you're just going to put it in the pan. Yes. You see, and by the way, Jody, I don't know, I want to tell you that from my experience. They went down that 17 stitches railroad track down my stomach twice, and I can remember each time the recovery. You don't realize how many muscles you use just pressing dough into a pan, right? And people don't realize how many muscles you use. Right. So Jody's saying about lymphedema, it won't go away, but the flares may be less frequent. Isn't that wonderful to hear? Hi, Sharon. Sharon saying, I may have been quiet, but I've been praying for you, Jody. I totally believe you, Sharon. And isn't it wonderful that she is okay? I want to tell you that I really made a plan that night, because the person, on Monday itself, I knew I couldn't do much Sunday night. Jody needed to sleep. And I know she didn't sleep very well, but I wasn't going to bug her in case she was asleep. And then on Monday, there was nothing I could do for Jody, and I knew that. And, other than pray. And so what I did was I decided that I would look after Lionel while Jody was being operated on, because I thought, the one person I can help right now is Lionel, and to let him know he's not alone, and that we care, and that we're here for him. And it was amazing, because I actually even planned to sort of not go to bed until very late on Monday morning. When I say late on Monday morning, I don't think I went to sleep until about 5 or so, when I thought that Jody would already be up and getting ready to go to the hospital. And then I went to sleep. Why? Because then I knew that I could sleep. And then by the time I woke up, I was pretty sure I was going to be able to find out whether everything went well with the operation. And it worked really well for me. I didn't spend a whole lot of time worrying, because I was quite right. By the time I did get to sleep, and then by the time I woke up, Jody was already out of the operation. So it was very selfish, Jody. Not very thoughtful, very selfish on my part. but I was so delighted to hear. And then I thought, even so, it was difficult for Lionel, right? Because, he's such a helping personality. All right, so Trina's saying, all okay, life is busy, hard finding me time, and feel like putting a taxi plate on my car. I'm dropping and collecting family members and also helping care for my father-in-law with my mother-in-law. Because her father-in-law has dementia. Okay, so Jody, can you just, Trina, is that okay for me to share all of that, or let me know if it is okay, because I will put that up on Facebook later, and Jody, I'm sure, will take a screenshot for me. Hi, Jenny, good to see you. Am I planning to go on any summer vacation? No, I am home. That is my vacation. Okay, so Trina's giving us the okay, Jody. So if you could just screenshot that for me so that I can put it up later. All right, so Jody is saying something that I think is totally impossible. She's saying, I briefly had a plan not to even announce the surgery date so you wouldn't worry. But I couldn't keep it to myself. Of course not, you silly. Imagine if I were going into surgery and I didn't tell you the date. I mean, really? How would you guys feel about that? So, Trina, what I'm saying is that, I love the humor of I'm thinking about putting a taxi plate up on my car. That tells me a lot, all right? But in reality, how are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? How overwhelmed do you feel? With 10 being, I'm ready for the funny farm. Or just how overwhelmed do you think you are? And the reason I say that, because sometimes we can be that busy, but not necessarily that overwhelmed. And I think there is a difference on how we process that. Yeah, and Jody's saying if I had, gone in for an operation and didn't tell her the date, she'd be madder than a wet hen. Yep. And so, but don't you find people say that, sick, but I don't want you to tell my friends or my family? And I'm going, really? How selfish is that? You know what I mean? How selfish is that? I wouldn't want anybody else to know. Well, I don't want them to worry. Well, hello, that's on them, right? Keeping my worry under control is my business, not yours. But I believe as a friend, you're right, that I would need to know. I get quite upset when people tell me they've had things, done things, and I didn't know. Oh, okay. How about this one? Cicero, from way back when, said, it is exercise alone that supports the spirits and keeps the mind in vigor, in health, all right? So for both your mental health and your physical health, exercise. What does exercise look like? I want to tell you that I found out that exercise is all sorts of things. I, for example, yesterday realized that it was lunchtime and I hadn't done any exercise. And, I just literally will put on my gardening gloves and I will go and work in the garden for an hour. And, the next thing I knew, I was already up to, about 4,000 steps without even trying. Hang on a second. I want to see what I ended up doing yesterday, because that'll give me a better idea of how I did in the afternoon. Yeah, I ended up doing 7,000 steps yesterday. And I didn't go for a walk. So exercise is not necessarily do exercise. Exercise is move the body. And that is something that I have learned now, that moving your body is what it's about. Whether you want to dance to some music, whether you want to, turn on your Wii machine and walk around the island, whether you want to, I unpacked 3 boxes yesterday. Why? That was my afternoon exercise. Why does unpacking boxes put on steps? Well, you're walking backwards and forwards, going, where am I going to put this? Okay, fine. And then, you're breaking down boxes. That's good. Yeah, I see that as muscle strengthening. You're bending and stretching. You're doing all sorts of things. So in a way, building boxes or unpacking boxes is a really good thing. I'm going to be building another wall unit soon, so that I can finish the last of the boxes. Can you imagine? Well, the last of the boxes that are in the house. And so that's quite exciting to me, because that also takes a lot of creative power and a lot of exercise, putting stuff together and so forth. It's all exercise. And I have a different view of exercise now. I found another cute thing. I think some of you know that I have a hearing issue. And I'm certain that for those of you who've got programs, if you've got smart TVs, the smart TV can send volume to your phone. I'm pretty sure you probably all know that, right? I found out another trick, which is even better. Once I've got the smart TV, and by the way, it doesn't do it for the TV, but it does it for all the streaming things. So once I've got the streaming coming to my phone, the volume coming to my phone, I then connect my sports buds put them in my ears, my earbuds, and then I can connect them to my phone. And guess what? I now have remote ability to listen to what's going on the streaming. So I can get up and go, come into the kitchen here and get something, and I can still hear what's going on. And it's amazing. So I'm very happy with that. Keep your vitality. A life without health, right, is like a river without water. Very important to see that we are responsible, all right, for a lot of our health. I know that we can't control a lot of our health issues, but we can control quite a bit. Trina's asking, has the weather cooled down there? I'm not joking. It is actually close to me putting on long sleeves at the moment, Trina. It's like spring weather, early spring weather now. It came plummeting down to below the 80s. Well, hang on a second. Let me tell you. It's 74 right now where I'm standing, which would be 23 degrees in your language and mine, Trina. But 74 in American, because, they never could manage that calculation. You had 28 today. All right. So you're in the temperatures that we had. We had 28, 30s, early 30s sort of stuff going on. But whoever thought that British Columbia would become the new California? That's scary. And I keep thinking, I saw I don't know if any of you saw that I put that up on Facebook, but be very aware now that as we get these terrible forest fires, which are bound to happen, because now the Pacific Northwest is so dry, right? We haven't had rain for the longest time. Now that that's happening, we're going to have so many animals and creatures and bugs and birds displaced. And so be very careful of everything. If you happen to see an animal that's not meant to be in civilized areas, understand it may be that their habitat has been totally destroyed and they're looking for a new place to live. So I don't know about you, but that sort of breaks my heart in some ways to think about that. But it is the reality. Again, I want to go back to how frustrated I was after that visit to the doctor. And one of the things I have said time and time again, it was a lesson I learned from Benji, which is if you are dealing with feelings of anger, use that energy. Why? It really does get the adrenaline going. And so if the way I control my anger now is to use it. And what I decided is, what is the best use of my anger this week? And that would be to go back to unpacking some boxes. And boy, I cleared, I think, 6 boxes this week. You can tell I was a bit upset about stuff. But the good news was that I got things done. Now, I also will admit that I was trying to find stuff. And, between the two of them, I used that energy pretty well. It was said that 3 things in life: your health, your mission, and the people you love. All right? Those are the 3 things you need to concentrate on: your health, your mission in life, and the people that you love. That's it. Pretty simple, right? And if you just concentrated on those and let the other things just be, you'd be amazed how happy your life would be. So is your health your top priority every day? Probably not. But you may want to consider it. I got angry on another issue this week, just so that you know. And if any of you got angry this week, feel free to type away. I had a viewer that started, the first thing that happened, I started to get a lot of ABC comments, and then SDF, and then, but on and on and on. And I'm thinking that's more like a child. All right. So maybe that is a mother holding a child, and the child, because it was all the left side of the keyboard stuff, because I would notice that. And I thought, I wonder whether, that's what it is. Anyway, so I kept deleting the messages and deleting the message. After I got about 10, I blocked the user. Now, I'm not quite sure how it happened, but the next thing I got was a whole screed of stuff like this, calling me the B word with an itch. And, some other words attached to that. And that went on for pages. And I don't know whether when I blocked her, that she got upset about that. But why wouldn't I block somebody who does that? First of all, I had compassion. All right. I thought it was a kid or a baby. And I just thought, and then I went, no, this is going on too long. This is not the behavior of a child necessarily. And then I realized that it was weird. So I'm sad for that person. That's how I feel. And the question is, do you understand that nobody in their right minds gets their jollies out of, just typing odd letters and sending them? Where's that's not somebody with a highly developed brain, in my view. Jenny, let me ask you, what are your plans for the summer? And you're always asking about mine, so let me ask you about yours. What are your plans for the summer? I plan to enjoy my home. I'm only just got back here, so I'm not planning to go anywhere at the moment. So I look at it, and I've started to realize that, these people who do these trolls and everything else, I work really hard at controlling myself enough not to let them affect me too much. I was a tad angry that it was taking up so much of my time to get rid of the comments. And then I realized the way I get rid of the comments is just to block them. End of story. And so to me, it's just like, and then when I got the stuff back at me, I'm not quite sure how that happened. But if that continues, and it came from a different account, but it was the same person. So that's it. Ginny's already had her summer vacation. By the way, Ginny, what age group are you in? Are you sort of, just give me roughly, are you in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, or like me, an old fart. You went to Squamish. That is up the road from me. Well, when I say up the road, that's within a couple of hours from me. That is such a beautiful place to visit, isn't it? Did you go camping, or what did you do? For those of you who don't know, Squamish is about halfway between Vancouver, British Columbia, and Whistler. You probably remember Whistler from the Olympics. So it's about halfway there, about a couple of hours away from me. What fun. You had a cabin. Yes, that's awesome. Well, that's something. I hope that you had. It was so nice. Yeah, I was going to say, I had one of the scariest experiences there. When I say, it goes under the title of Weird with a capital W. I was doing a speech there. I think some of you know I used to be a professional speaker, and I was doing a speech there to some young people. And the most peculiar thing was I got into a lot of trouble with I had a speaker's agent in those days, and the speaker's agent asked me to go to Vegas for a gig. And it was this particular weekend, and I said, I'm sorry, I can't go. I'm pre-booked. And they said, well, where are you speaking? And I said, I'm speaking to a group of students. And they said, don't you understand this is Vegas that they want you to go to? And I said, yeah, but I have a previous booking with some students. And they're saying, are you serious? You'd give up Vegas for a group of students? And I said, well, I know that that's not important to you, but I said it is important to the students. Does that make sense to anybody? And you know me, I'd given my word that I'd be there, so I wasn't going to be canceling that unless there was some unbelievable reason that I couldn't be there. And the funny thing was that the speech didn't go quite the way I expected it to. It was really weird. And as I was driving away, I was sort of saying to myself, and that was weird. And I'm not joking. This voice inside my car said, forgive them. They know not what they do. I want to tell you, I nearly drove off the road. I had to stop the car and just regroup for a little while. Because I want to tell you, that voice was so loud in my head that it literally sounded like it was in the car. And I will never forget that moment. It was just like, really? And I wonder if any of you have had any of those experiences where you go, yep, I wonder where that came from. And I'm going, I recognize those words. Really interesting stuff. William Penn said, true silence is the rest of the mind, and it is to the spirit what sleep is to the body. Nourishment and refreshment. True silence is the rest of the mind. Rest your mind. When I thought about my health and my blood pressure, I was thinking it was very interesting that my doctor told me that these are the pills I need you to take, but he didn't say anything else. He didn't say, what I'd like you to do is this, 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 and this to help lower your blood pressure. That sort of made me a little angry as well. And quite honestly, I was already, triggered, so I didn't have the presence of mind to remind him of that, but I will next time I see him. Now, he also knows I'm a fairly smart cookie and that I have been through this before, and therefore I know what to do. That might have been his reasoning. But would it be nice if he'd verbalize that and say, Sal, I'm not going to bother to tell you what to do because you know what to do. You've done it before and got yourself off the pills. So what was the thing that I hadn't been doing? You know, what is the thing that I hadn't been doing that would have caused my blood pressure to go up? Now, the only thing I could think of is that I am quite a doer. All right. What I need to do is to learn to do things with my feet up. All right. Because that's going to help my swollen feet. That's the other medication I got this week, by the way, the diuretics, and I should talk to that. But it'll help my feet, but also to actually just sit for a while during the day with my feet up and not do anything would be a good addition. So Jody, I'm pretty certain that you're finding that balance now. You need to both be moving, but also be resting. All right? Because true silence is the rest of the mind. All right. And it's very difficult for doers to rest the mind. It's not what we do naturally. So let me ask you, how difficult is it for you to sit and do nothing? And I have a feeling that we all need to relook at that. So what I've done is as I might have talked about this, I've found out that my local library has all sorts of, what do you call it, audiobooks available for free. And so I've downloaded, I'm on my second book now. I've downloaded another book, and this one's a James Patterson, I think. And now what I'm doing is saying to myself, for 1 hour a day, I need to sit with my feet up for my edema, but to sit and just listen. Boy, that is so difficult for me. And I find myself, I'm suddenly I'm on my phone and I'm doing this and I go, hush. The idea is just to sit and listen. Do you have enough control to spend 1 hour of your day doing just that? And I decided to do it out on my deck, where it's fresh air, so I'm getting in fresh air as well. But boy, it is difficult for me. And I don't think I'm alone in that. Let me know. Now then, all right, so Jody's saying that's a great idea. The audiobook is an incentive for you to sit still and rest. I tell myself it's part of my therapy and it's equally as important as the movement in my day. Yes, Jody, I'm a little aware of your surroundings. How difficult would it be? And do you have a suitable chair, like a fairly comfortable deck chair, type thing that maybe Lionel could take outside, so that your goal is to be able to get to the chair when he takes it out and then just sit maybe for 10 minutes to get that fresh air in the summer? Because, any minute now, there's no New Hampshire winters are going to be on you and you're going to really regret not being able to do that. But I was thinking, it would be good because, if you and Lionel just went out and spent a little time doing nothing but having a bit of maybe a cup of coffee, early morning coffee. Well, not so early morning, but mid-morning coffee. Do you know what I mean? Just so that you have the idea. Okay, Lionel, let's see how far I can get to, and I think, do you have anywhere outside the house where you could put a chair and just sit and have a cup of coffee with him? And because I'm pretty sure that Lionel will be only too happy to do a couple of trips into the apartment and back again to bring you the bits. But I was thinking how much fun that would be, because you could have the fluff ball with you, and the fluff ball could play on the grass at the same time. So do you have such a place? And if not, even somewhere where you can sit and watch the traffic go by and, have your judgments. Anyway, hang on a second. My issue that I'm suddenly have a weird reaction to the sun. Oh, is there a place that's in the shade? And is there something you can take for that reaction? I'm pretty sure there is. All right, here we go. I have a new Christmas idea for you. All right. Now, you're probably wondering, why have I got a Flacadi rug right here? Wow. Hi, Chris. 39. All right. Can I repeat that, Chris? Oh, golly gee. Okay. So I'm going to continue reading with tears in my eyes. I'm going to continue reading what Chris just wrote. She said, I'm 39. And I found out that I have kidney cancer a month ago. My boyfriend of 6 years left me 2 weeks ago. I'm having a very hard time dealing with things right now. In which case, Craze, you've come to the right place. How can we support you? What are you feeling? Betrayed? Lonely? What are the feelings that you're having? Any diagnosis like that is pretty scary. I would say scare probably is part of it. And as I said, depression, anxiety, confusion, and scared. All right, depression is not right. I personally believe that depression is anger turned inwards. I've had depression in my life, and when I really got a handle on it and turned it around, which I eventually did, I realized that so much of my depression was my anger that I didn't let out, that I held it in, and I was angry at a lot of things. And anxiety, I'm certain you know about that craze. Anxiety is living in the future or living in the past, right? In fact, no, actually living in the past is depression. Living in the future is anxiety. Yeah, you have a lot of anger. Good. Well done. Yay. And so you should. And so you should have a lot of anger. Is it at yourself? Who are you angry at, honey? While you're typing, I just want to carry on for a second. By the way, I think some of you know that when I came back to the house, I bought a couple of cheaper rugs until I could work out what I wanted. And part of them, I got these cheap rugs from China, imitation Flacadis. And I want to tell you, this has been a big surprise. I don't know about you, but cheap rugs from China that I thought they would fall apart within a couple of weeks, but they would do in the meantime. And what I want to tell you is I've washed these almost every week. So they are not anything like as bad as I thought they were going to be. I was quite prepared for them just to fall apart completely. And touch wood, they're really doing well. So I thought I'd mention that if you've seen them online and you like, you like the flocati look. There you go. Right, that's not what I wanted to show you. All right, so Chris, let me know who or what you are angry at. It's very important when you're angry to make sure you can identify why. Is it because it's not fair? Is it, are you angry at God? Are you angry at yourself for not realizing this sooner? It's really an important thing. And Jody will also tell you, she's dealt with cancer. Nada, you got him. I'm not allowed to repeat it, but you got him. All right. So while I'm waiting to hear back from Craze, this is my tip for the week. This is one of those boxes you get strawberries in. Okay. And I thought I'd show you that I've turned it into a ribbon dispenser. Now, they've got all those little colored ribbons in it. And I don't know about you, but they just come undone and go everywhere. So the alternative is way more scary. Seriously. Way more scary. All right, so what do you think? Simple? And how many of you going, that is a pretty easy way to contain a lot of very messy things? Now, Jody, Nada, what are you asking about? The rug or the ribbon? Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think the ribbon holder. No, honey. The ribbon holder used to have strawberries in it, honey. It's one of these. It's a little container that you get strawberries in. You know me. Reuse, recycle, repurpose, right? And I'm pretty certain that you're not surprised that I found another use for that. Now you're saying, what about fatter ribbon? Yeah, I would just cut these little holes a bit bigger. I'm actually thinking about having somewhere in my craft room. No problem, Chris. Chris, the main thing is let us know how we can help you. How can we support you right now? That's what I really want to know. Other than to tell you that any feelings you have, are just your feelings. It's okay. And it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to have those feelings. And Nada, in terms of what you wrote about that I'm not going to repeat, I think that's perfectly normal that you have the feelings that you have. All right. So, Craze, would you like a support team? Craze is saying, I just feel alone. I have little family and friends. No support. Would you like a support team? Do you deserve a support team? Because I think it's really important for you to know you can control that. All right, that is something within your control. Well, first of all, you're here. You're here, aren't you? Well done. 10 out of 10. How did you find out about us? All right, and how about I get the viewers that are online at the moment to give you some ideas of how you might get support? All right, because there are different ways to get support. Ah, you found me through Benji and Judy, as did many people. But you know, it's amazing that you came. All right. Now listen, see. Now Nada's saying, Craze, Nada is saying that we are here for you when Sal's on, and email is open when she's not. All right. So you know our email is dearmamasal@gmail.com. But here's the other thing. If you come regularly to the broadcast, you're going to find that people will make sure, give me permission to share their email with you, so that you can get that support if you want it. Or they will say to me, it's okay to share my messenger with her. Yeah, Jody's saying she's happy to be on your support team. So here's the thing, Chris. If you would be good enough, all right, so if you would be good enough to send me your email or send me anything to dearmamasal@gmail.com and put I am Craze, then I will know who it is. And I will share that email address with Jody. And Jody, I'm pretty certain is going to tell me it's okay for me to send her address to Nada. Nada, I think I do have an email from you somewhere, right? So, oh, Craze, you deserve a support team, honey. All right? You deserve a support team. And that's part of what we do here. And I also want you to understand there are so many ways you can get different support teams. How does that sound to you? Would you like more than one? I am pretty certain, I'm not sure where you live. All right, so Nada, but you still know how to get hold of me, right? Or rather, I can still get hold of you because I think I still have your email address. All right, have you got a pen and paper, Chris? All right, so Nada is suggesting one way to get support is through playing games, that with people, online games, because you start chatting to them and then start making friends that way. I would like to suggest that I am pretty certain, now that I know where you live, that there are so many support groups in your city that will, it's really important for you to be joining one of those. And your local hospital will probably have a resource center for you. All right. Jody is saying also look at Facebook support groups, because they have a lot of support groups, not only for arts and crafts and stuff like that, but also for illnesses. And they will come up with lots of ideas for you as well. All right, and Nada's saying because of COVID, she's found that personal support groups have been less, and they do more through text and voice. All right, but that's the important thing. I'm pretty certain that you will find that your local hospital they probably have Zoom meetings now rather than in person-to-person meetings. They probably have Zoom meetings for support groups. So you don't even have to leave home to get that support. But I would say that the help that we might be able to give you is that we can, also help you know it's okay to have the feelings that you have. And that's really important, because you strike me as a nice human being, and probably anger isn't something that you visit, a great deal. And if you don't know how to deal with anger, then it can act out in negative ways that you don't need. And so I would urge you to keep talking to us about what's going on and what's happening. Is it something that they are going to be able to help you with, or what is the diagnosis here, Chris, if you care to share? And if you don't want me to share it publicly, just put "do not repeat." Then it won't go on the replay. What I'm trying to find out is, what stage are you at? What are your hopes and wishes of this one? I would say that it's really important for you round about now, Chris, to have a couple of mantras in your head, things that you say to yourself. Every time you start to feel the anger, check in, who am I angry at? And, if you're angry at God, I'm certain he's had a few people be angry with him before, to allow this to happen. If you're angry at the doctors because they didn't discover it earlier, quite normal. If you are angry at yourself, quite normal. All right, so Craze is saying I can share this, and thank you for letting me know that at the front end. The tumor is taking over my whole right kidney and will need to be removed. All right, and they will not know if it has spread until they do more tests. Okay, so this is a really scary time for you. Jenny, I already had my second shot. I had it about mid-June. Over 2 weeks ago, anyway. So just to let you know. And by the way, I want to tell you, just because I'm a human being, I was a little scared about getting the first shot. And I was also a little scared about getting the second. I had Pfizer on both of them, and I did not have a reaction from either. Okay, so all the best with that one, Jenny. She's going to have a second shot next week. I thought the second one might be worse on my body than the first one, but quite honestly, I didn't feel any symptoms at all from either of them. Yeah, and I wouldn't lie to you on that. Yeah. So, Chris, please do write to me anytime. And I need you to know that. I will get back to you as soon as I can. It might not be immediately, but you do know that I have part of what I do is to be here for people when they've got stuff like that. And what I want you to do is not give up hope. Jody will tell you, she had cancer and she overcame it, right? She managed to get through it with the doctor's help and everything. And then Once she got clear of cancer, she then got lymphedema. And when I met Jody a couple of years ago now, she, quite honestly, she was on her way out. She was dying. Her whole mentality was dying. And I just said to her, do you want to live or do you want to die? I need to know. And she said, what? And I said, I just want to know because I can help you either way. It's just like, when I say I can help you either way, but I'll be here to support you either way. So I need you to know, Chris, that, you're not alone. And I think that anybody who's had a major illness will tell you that sometimes what you learn through the illness is probably the most important learning you will do in your life. Jody, what lessons did you learn from having cancer, Jody, and then getting over it? I was just talking about how when we met, Jody, you were on your way out mentally. You were not planning to live. And, what a difference 2 years makes, right? Well, Craves, the thing is this, that I know how lonely that can be, right? I know what it's like to deal with something when you don't have family and friends that are nearby or that care. Yeah, exactly. Craze, perfectly normal. Doesn't make you a loser or whatever. But, look at Jody today. And when I say look at Jody today, she decided she wanted to live. And it's amazing what she has done. Even to the extent, Chris, have you been listening for some time or are you new to the channel? Because some people listen a lot but don't talk. So Jody's saying, I learned the importance of slowing down, a grateful heart, and that giving yourself the grace you deserve is absolutely vital. Yes. The art of slowing down is really important. And when you get a diagnosis like this, it forces you to slow down. You bet, Chris. And I really are you journaling this journey? It would be really important for you to just write down your feelings every day. It will help you cope with them a lot better. And if you understand, your feelings are your stuff, right? Nobody else's. When I say nobody else's, nobody makes you feel alone. All right? You do that. You don't have to be alone. So you get a choice. And just bear with me a second here, Chris. You can have the choice to go and join some groups and not be alone, or to sit on your own and feel sorry for yourself. Do you understand that's a choice? All right. You can say, I can join some groups, but I don't bother. You then have to choose whether to attend those groups, be it on Zoom or on Facebook or whatever. That is a choice. So all the time, it's going to be on you as to how lonely you want to be. I want to give Nada as an example. Nada is a very regular viewer who hardly ever says anything. You're right? So I know she's there in the background somewhere. All right? But she doesn't necessarily talk every week. But I know she's listening and I know she's learning. So, and I've always said that if the work that I do helps one person, then I'll keep doing it. All right. And now we have another person that needs our help. And so thank you. I'm very selfishly, thank you. So please remember that we are only half of the solution. In other words, we can tell you that we are here to help you and support you. But the thing is, Craze, does it make sense? You have to come to the party. You have to let us know what's going on so we can support you. You need to know it's okay to have feelings and that we will help you process them if you want to. Or you can sit curled up in a ball somewhere and feel sorry for yourself. That will be your choice. Now, the other thing that I want you to know, and Jody will tell you about this, your communication with your doctors and possibly surgeons or whatever is going to be vital. And Jody, do you have any advice for Craze about dealing with doctors and specialists from your experience of having gone through this? Or any other viewers that might be online at the moment that is dealing with a difficult illness. It is so important to have good communications with your provider and to learn to verbalize stuff, not internalize it. So if you have questions, all right, be prepared to go back for 3 or 4 meetings if you need to get your questions answered. Don't expect to have a list this long and do it all in 15 minutes because it's not going to happen. You just need to tell the doctor, look, I've got a plethora of questions here. And I know it's going to take some visits to get through them all, but I need to do that. I like to think of a doctor now as my medical resource specialist. That's really what it is. All right, so she's already found a really great oncologist. That's great. Craze, why did I know you were a list person? Hey, Craze, question. Do you have lists of your lists? If so, I really do have a program that you're going to love that I will tell you about if you write to me. And just send me an email at DearMamaSal@gmail.com and I will send you a link, because I actually shared it with Jody and she'll tell you that, boy, if you're a person that has lists of your lists, this is the program that is really good. All right, so Jody is saying, and I'm repeating this so that anybody who might be listening to this on the replay will be able to hear this. What Jody found out was prioritize your questions. In other words, if he only answered 3, which 3 do you want answered today? All right, on your first visit. And then reorganize that list. All right. Make a list and bring it with you to every appointment. Not every issue can be addressed in one appointment, so give them the list and they'll work through it. Keep great notes. I would have, and I'm not sure if Jody, you did this, but I would have one book that is about, this is my, like a small notebook type thing. Not like, hang on a second. One like this. Okay. Sort of one of these spiral bound thing. This is my doctor book. When I go to the doctor, and I would actually head each page with one of the questions. Right? So when he gives you the answer, you've got room to write it. And then you can also, because you're like that as well, if you're a list person, you can also have an index in the front and then say, okay, he answered the question about so on page 6. Right. So Jody said, why am I not surprised that you have a notebook for your appointments, Jody? And so now, Craze, and you know why this is really important for you? There are a number of reasons why it's really important. Number one, it gets all your questions out of your head and you've got a proper place to put the questions. The next thing is, it is creative. All right? So you can make that book pretty if you want to. All right? I want you to see it as a project rather than function. I want you to think about, this is my health book, right? Are you creative as well, Chris? And I got a real feeling of that. That's why I asked. Okay, so can you do that? Can you get yourself a little book? I don't mind that it doesn't look like this one. Your book, whatever it is, something that easily fits in your purse, so that you can take it easily to the thing. By the way, I would get thicker rather than thinner because you don't know. It would be great if you only need 4 pages and then you can rip them all out next year and throw them away. That would be awesome. But on the other hand, it's nice to have a book that's big enough. Mind you, there's nothing to stop you having volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4, if you want to have a thin book. So just the main thing is make it a project and make it pretty and make it organized. The point is it gets the questions out of your brain. Your brain must be swimming with questions right now. Your brain must be, really an overload. Am I correct? And so what I'd like to do is to say to you, there are so many people who've been through what you are going through. And one of the things is, I know it's difficult, try not to be too far ahead of the game. In other words, this is pretty early on and they've caught it. All right? Of course. All right. So, okay to repeat that, Chris? I have a special request of you, Chris. Is there any way you could share your real name with us? And the reason I say that, I don't think I want to keep calling you Chris. I don't think that is a positive word that I want to be talking to. There you go. Jody, could you make a note for me because I'm going to forget. And is it okay for me to use that word publicly? I guess so, because that's why I need it. But I want confirmation of that. So while I'm waiting for you to answer that, the whole thing about you got a double whammy, right? You got the diagnosis on the one side, and then a boyfriend of 6 years walking out on you. I know this is going to sound really strange. This is going to sound really strange to you, Crystal. By the way, she gave me permission to use her name. But here's the thing. Crystal, be grateful he left. I am pretty certain if you've been together for 6 years, you probably wondered why your relationship hadn't developed further. Well, guess what? This is somebody who cannot take commitment. When I say cannot take commitment, but the love isn't about walking out on somebody when they have a diagnosis. I remember a friend of mine, a guy, saying to me, "My girlfriend has just been diagnosed with breast cancer. What can I do?" And I said, "Here's what I can tell you to do. If you don't have the sphericals, the round things, if you don't have the sphericals to support her through this, regardless of the outcome, get out now. Because she doesn't need this to happen later. Because you're finding it difficult to cope." And you know something, Crystal, I would say that this might not make sense to you today, but I actually think that it's not a bad thing for you. Ginny, at the moment, I'm just trying to help Crystal. I will put up the notification about tonight later on. So I want you to understand, Crystal, that, although it hurts, I am pretty certain if you get honest with yourself, another list, create the list. What doubts did you have about this boyfriend over the last 6 months, year? What doubts did you have that you ignored? All right, so all right, this is wonderful. I love your honesty, Crystal. It is your honesty is going to help so many other people as well. I need you to know that. Crystal's saying, I'll be honest, that anger that I spoke of came out and I directed it at him. Very wrong of me, but it wasn't him. I was just overwhelmed with my cancer issues. I think that your anger was at him at some level. And if he could not see that after a diagnosis like that, your anger is going to be all over the place, then he is not somebody that maybe has the ability to be able to cope with what you're going to go through. And so, but maybe he will go away and come back. Maybe he is capable of doing that. Some people need to do that. So just let it be what it is. As I was saying, I think the things that help most at times like this, Crystal, is to have a couple of mantras. It is what it is being the most important one. Yeah, Ned is saying, sometimes they need time to process. He's a man. It's different for them, right? They don't process the way that we do. We talk things out, right, Crystal? That's how we calm ourselves down. We vent. Men don't. Wow, that's positive. So Crystal has given me permission to repeat anything she says. So here's it. She said, right. He said we need space and time apart so that we can work on ourselves and that he can become the man that I need him to be. Okay. Do you want my input on that one? I'm not going to presume that you do. Yeah. Nada's reminding us of the book Men Are From Mars and Women from Venus. Reread the book, Crystal. All right, now listen, this is what you wrote. He says we need space. You didn't say that he needs to leave me. He just said we need space. Why are you telling me that he left? He didn't leave. He needed space. He needed to give you space and time apart so we can work on ourselves. I think that's very positive. Does anybody else see that as a positive? And so that he can become the man I need him to be. Okay. Are you still in contact with him in some way, Crystal? Because I would urge you to send him one message. And that message would be, I don't need you to become anything. You already are the man that I love. Please don't change. If that is true, send that message. All right? And take all the time you need. And if I can help support you in this in any way, I think he's scared. He's scared that he won't be able to help you enough, all right, or whatever. I would talk to him about what he is feeling. Men don't like to talk about that, but ask him a couple of questions. Are you as scared as I am, do you think? Are you, how can I support you? It's not all about you, Crystal. This is both of you. Right, but there is tension. We're both stressed. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And therefore, I think his idea of creating a bit of space wasn't altogether bad. Hi there, Kimmy. Wasn't altogether bad. He knows he needs to get a grip. He says that I broke him as a man. No, no. He broke himself, but that's okay. Yes, Jody, very valid point. Listen, Crystal. It's frustrating for him that he can't fix it. He may feel that he has let you down. All right. Kimmy, meet Crystal, called Craze. And she has just got a cancer diagnosis, and her boyfriend just called for space. All right. So this is what we know about men. All right. And I know putting all men in one box is dangerous and all the rest of it. But I do need to say this. Most men actually like to fix things. They want to be the knight in shining armor. And if they get faced with something they don't think they can fix, they get almost deflated like a balloon. I can't fix this one. All right. And as Nada so correctly says, the important message to send them is to let them know that you don't need a Mr. Fix-It. That's what you got doctors and surgeons for. What you need is your boyfriend back. And yes, you're going to probably have moments of great anger, as he would if he had the same diagnosis. But really, what you need is him. He doesn't have to fix your body. And so when Crystal gets honest with herself, and boy, I am really loving your honesty here. Crystal's saying, yes, I think he felt exactly that way with many things in our relationship. Another list. Maybe a book. Volume 2 might be necessary. Start writing those things down that that you can see now that he felt about that. Yeah, you got to the list thing, right? And it's okay to laugh. I know this is probably going to surprise you, Crystal, but one of the things I did is that I inaugurated the humor room in the cancer clinic in downtown Vancouver. They actually asked me to inaugurate it, and I spent many, many years there. And I would go and just be who I am, and that is, funny sometimes. And I would go there to be funny. I didn't go there. I heard one of the best jokes I ever heard at the cancer clinic. And when I say one of the best jokes I ever heard, it just was so great to hear people with cancer, not lose their sense of humor. And the reason I say that is one of the first people I was introduced to was a guy called Patrick, and he was blind. And he was the second person I said hello to. So, I was being very polite and guarded because I didn't know how do you talk to people with cancer, Anyway, so I just said, hi, Patrick. So nice to meet you. And he said, Sal, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, do you know why blind people don't go skydiving? And I went, what? And he said, do you know why blind people don't go skydiving? And I went, no. Tell me, why don't blind people go skydiving? And he said, it scares the living daylights out of the dog. And I want to tell you something, Crystal. In that moment, I knew it was okay to just be me and just be funny and not treat anybody any differently. I just was me. And I assure you that people would come in their gurneys. Literally, they would roll people in their gurneys, in wheelchairs, whatever. And I was amazed how many people would come. And, I'd say something like, all right, on the count of three, stand on your chair. And I'd go, for those of you on the gurney, make a plan. And you'd be amazed. I can remember doing that thing one day. And one of the people in the gurney was going to her nurse's aide, get me up, get me up. She wanted to participate. Do not stop participating in life. All right? I want you to really get a mentality here, Crystal. I am going to walk this one step at a time. It is what it is. And I am going to learn so much about me, about my friends, about life. I'm going to be able to write that book. What book? Are you a writer? Is part of your creativity writing? Ah. Okay, so Crystal's saying you're so right. Everybody tells me I should be. Yeah. Am I a psychic as well? She says. It seems like you know me. I can feel you. And I also listen to what comes out of my mouth as I talk to you. And then I go, why did I say that? And that's why I asked the question. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks, Jenny. Crystal, I believe we all are psychic to some degree. It's just not psychic. It's about being tuned in to people. And I know that it sounds really strange that any of us might be able to tune into one another. But I've always believed that is possible, and I trust my gut. Do you want to hear a funny story about that, Crystal? Well, Sharon's saying, Crystal, Sal can blow your mind. Sometimes she's sitting right beside you, and you will hear me talking to you if I do this right, which I intend to do. Crystal saying, you're so sweet, Sal. I loved you since the day Benji introduced you and wished that I had somebody like you to support me, like you did him. All you had to do was come and say hello. Everybody that's a regular here will tell you, Crystal, I don't go looking for people to help. I just keep being here, and I know that the people that need my help will find me. I know that sounds really strange. I've always believed that. I've always believed that, when you're ready, you'll pop in and maybe we will be able to help. And also, you will hear from the regulars here that some people pop in for a little while and then they go missing. But they always know where to come back to. And that to me is the most precious gift. You're saying thank you so much. No. It's us that need to thank you, Crystal. I know you probably don't quite get this yet, but you are going to teach us so much. We're going to learn so much from you. And that learning is going to help so many other people if you care to share, and if you understand that this is not just about you. And Crystal's saying you're doing something very special. I hope you know that. I think it's called being a friend. I could be wrong. I think it's called being a friend, right? It's like I've got some really good friends in my life, and I don't talk to them nearly as much as I talk to Jody. You know, or even to Sharon. Sometimes it's just like they know that I am here, and they know that when I need help, I will call for it, and they know that I am there for them when they need me. But in the rest of the time, they can get on with their life. Because when you really need a friend, it's a different sort of friend. Am I right there, Jody? Wow. All right. So I'm going to repeat what Crystal said for a reason, and I'll tell you that at the end. Crystal said, but there is just something about your spirit. You're going the extra mile when you don't need to. You have a pure heart, and I appreciate and recognize that. Okay. So when we turn the mirror, Crystal, would that be true of you? Would you do the same for a friend? And that's really what I want you to understand. I can remember being at YouTube one time. And I was the oldest person there by far, but, one of the things, I was in a panel discussion, listening to a panel discussion, and one of the things that I was talking about had one of the people up on stage ask me the question, what would you say was the one word that described your channel? And I said, caring. And they said, what would be the second one? I said, experiments. And it was funny because it was just like, without a doubt, to me, the glue that holds DearMamaSal together is people care. Not just me. Not just me. People here care. By the way, are you following us on Facebook? So Crystal turned the mirror and she agreed. In a heartbeat, she'd help friends, right? But people like us are few and far between. The world is so cold these days. I would never have thought that I would get all this out of stopping by your live today. Good. I like it when we surprise people. I like it when, and it's not just me. I need you to understand that. All right, it's really difficult to find on Facebook. Try at DearMamaSal. I'm sure Jody's typing as we speak. And the reason I really recommend that you make sure you follow us on Facebook is because I will update you on how Jody's doing. And hopefully I will update other people on how you are doing. All right? That's how we create the family. We keep in touch. And people know, that they might not be able to get to a broadcast, but they can update me and give me permission, and I will update them. And I also want you to understand that if you update me on anything now, I'm going to presume it's okay for me to share it unless you tell me not to. All right? And so I look at this and go, this is the very work that we do. And Sharon's saying, I stalked Sal for a year before speaking to the group. I was one of the best things I've ever done. I was drowning in grief, and Sal helped me bail water. That is so beautiful, Sharon. What an incredible quote. Jody, could you take a screenshot for me? But not just me, all right? I can't do this on my own. If I came here every week and nobody was here, imagine how boring that would be for me. So it is all of you that support one another. I've always said that at the end of almost every broadcast or video. I said, look after one another, but most of all, look after yourself. Because, this is where we learn. This is where we learn, hang on a second, he's a guy. He thinks differently. All right? He doesn't know how to fix this. And now you're angry at him, and now he feels emaciated, I'm pretty sure. It was like the air went out of his balloon, Crystal. He can't fix this. And so I would really take the time to reread or listen to Men from Mars and Women from Venus, because you are going to learn how to help him help you. Or be okay with the fact that he can't. And maybe, but I don't hear that he left you. That's not what I hear from what you told me. And I believe that you told me the truth. Jody's saying Saul saved my life in a literal and figurative way. Jody, you know that I'm rolling my eyes right now. Who saved your life? Seriously. I just flapped my lips. You listened. There's a difference. You not only listened, Jody, but you decided to live. I can't control that. That was your decision, 100%. When I said to you, okay, I'm going to start walking, and you said, I wish I could. I said, you can. And I went and did some experiments, and I found out that rolling your arms like this was exercise. Why? It was showing up on my watch, and my heart rate was changing. When I did that experiment, you listened. Jody's saying I took a chance on that eye roll. Hi, Kez. Kez is saying, hi, everyone. I like that we have full circle moments here where we teach each other something, and then in return, we are taught something. Thank you, Kez. I want to just go back to this thing that we found out about rolling your arms. You see, Jody doesn't use excuses anymore, all right? Jody knows she doesn't have to be able to walk necessarily to get exercise. And she blew her doctors away when she could show with her watch that she was getting that much of her heart pumping. All right. Because the watch told her so. She could see it. And when you can see that it changes your heart rate, when you can see that this isn't a waste of energy or time, or even doing this if you can't walk, find something to do that will get the heart and muscles working. This is saying, it is what it is. I will do what I can. I won't concentrate on what I can't do. I will concentrate on what I can. And so, Crystal, we got a group of people here that are not perfect. Is that okay with you? And I want to talk about perfection, because I have a feeling that you are a perfectionist to boot. Right. Well, don't you try to be? Virgo. Oh my golly, gee. What can I say? Did you hear my story about being a Virgo, Crystal? Okay, I've got to tell you, for those of you who've heard it before, Crystal needs to hear this. All right, so Crystal, I was the youngest sales manager of a huge publishing company. We published uh, 60 million copies of magazines in 6 different countries, and they never had a female do that job. And here I was young, and I got the job. Why? I was good. But here's the thing. My staff were not used to having a female in that role and whatever. And it was about the time that Linda Goodman came out with the Love Signs book, if you've heard that one. And anyway, one day, one of my staff members walks in with the Linda Goodman Love Signs book, and she said, "Sal, you might want to read. Yeah, I've marked it for you. I put a piece of paper in there for you. You might want to read the bit about Virgo." And I said, "What?" Like I was busy, I'm busy doing multi-million-dollar spreadsheets and things, and computers had just come out, and it was just like, "What?" And she said, "Read the thing on Virgo." I said, "Okay." So then I waited until I got a break, and then I sat down and opened it up and started to read. And I need you to understand, because you're a creative, this will make more sense to you. This thing started on the right-hand page, right? And just as I got to the bottom paragraph before you turned the page, Crystal, I noticed that there were 2 mistakes. One was grammatical and one was a punctuation mistake. And I don't know why, but my blood pressure went up, and said, you'd think somebody that produces a book this big and is a multi, whatever, they'd have a decent editor. Turn the page, Crystal. And the next line read, "And if you're a true Virgo, I just sent you off the deep end because there was a grammatical error and a punctuation error in the previous paragraph." I picked up the book and I threw it across the room. By the way, Crystal wrote, "That drives me crazy." So it's not that you're a perfectionist at all then, Crystal. So we're going to own a bit of your perfectionism, right? Because suddenly your body isn't as perfect as you thought it was. And it is what it is. Let's do the best we can with what we got. So a couple of questions that I would want to ask. How good are you about exercise? Are you doing what you can to exercise your body? Are you eating what you can to eat better? Because we've got all sorts of resources here that can support you. When I say resources, we got people who've been there, done that. Kez is saying, my mom said that perfect is boring. Well, I keep trying for it. But I've given up being ruler of the universe. I can tell you that. I really have given up being ruler of the universe. That was a big step for me, where I no longer do I expect people to be like me or even understand me. It's just like, really? I'm not that easy to understand. All right, so Crystal's saying, I'm doing everything the doctor is telling me. So yes, I've lost 40 pounds in a month. I'm eating healthy and everything, but I'd love your tips as well. Okay, so how did you lose 40 pounds in a month? You see, I told you were going to teach us. Did you go straight keto, or what did you do? Inquiring minds need to know so we can decide whether we want to do it. You didn't expect to be teaching us today, right? Pity. And I'm going to keep the broadcast on longer just so we can get those tips. What I was going to say, hi, Jan, good to see you. Jan, I love your humor. I always do. All right. Jan is saying, hi, all. I'm a grammatically incorrect, punctuation illiterate, and very, very happy. And I'm old and blessed. Yeah, absolutely. It's when we let go of these things that, when I first met my friend Yvonne, she was OCD. right? She had a perfect everything, right? And I've known her for over, 20 years now. And one of the most amazing things is that she's almost normal now. She actually can make a typo error on a thing and not freak out about it. So to me, this is about losing 40 pounds in 1 month took an incredible amount of effort. What did you do? I want to know. Well, I can't do keto, though I wanted to because of the high protein. I can't have that on a renal diet. But I did start drinking a gallon of water a day, which was difficult at first. Okay, tell me more. Other than that, what did you do? A gallon of water a day. I have been doing light exercise like walking. I don't want to overexert myself before my kidney removal surgery, which will be in the next couple of months. Okay? So, did you change your eating habits at all? And I guess I would need to know, were you eating fairly well to start with? Do you know that Jody had to literally go from eating regular food all the way down to eating nothing but liquid? So we have a lot of experience of what is possible to do. All right, so low salt, low animal protein, low potassium. Hi, Autumn, good to see you. Autumn saying, I've been eating really good and I still can't lose weight. I've decided to try cutting added sugar and see what happens. That's a good idea. But, you're saying that the gallon of water a day, that's such a simple solution, isn't it? So do you fill up the gallon at the beginning of the day and see how much you can get through? And I've actually been drinking a lot more, and the way that I do it is I add, this is just for me, I find that I drink a lot more when I make myself crushed ice and just pour a little milk on it. And I just put a little bit of vanilla in it as well. It's like, but as that ice melts, of course, I'm drinking all that water. And I'm amazed how many of those I can get through in a day when I want to. Okay, so Crystal's saying, I start the day with a gallon jug and drink it all day long. I fill up cups and add slur liquid water enhancer. I found just adding a mint leaf makes all the difference. A sprig of mint. I grow mint over there. It's still recovering from that heat wave, so it looks a bit yellowy. But what I do is I will put a sprig of mint, like about. I can do this, so you can do this. I put about that much into my water bottle. All right, so Crystal is saying you can get them at Vaughn's and they are natural. Yeah, if you happen to live in the States, which we own too. Lemon or lime is nice too. Yes, lemon or lime. I will throw in a 1/4 of a slice of lemon. Sometimes I mash up strawberries and berry stuff. to give it a boost. I quite agree. That's what I've been doing, and it really has helped my liquid intake. So that is something that we all can do to support you. All right, so Autumn is saying, I need ideas how to satisfy my sweet tooth. I can't have gluten, dairy, eggs, or sugar. But you're allowed sugar-free stuff? Are you allowed sugar-free, Autumn? Yeah. For example, I know I need to eat more yogurt, but I don't necessarily like the taste of yogurt. I found that no sugar added strawberry jam. Yeah, 1 teaspoon of that mixed in with my yogurt makes it taste completely different. I find that sugar-free salted caramel in my coffee tastes absolutely awesome. No other sugar. Sugar-free caramel topping, awesome. All right, and stevia. Oh yeah, I even mix stevia. I'm reducing sugar rather than getting rid of it completely, but I will mix stevia in with real sugar, and I will also mix stevia in with my brown sugar. The caramel topping has dairy, really? It only has 0.1 grams of protein. So where is the dairy in this? No sugar added, fat-free. Are you sure? Okay, hang on a second. That's going to upset me now. I don't want to call you wrong, but I want to find out where it is. My old glasses. Hold on, people. Water. Oh, malted extrude. Skim milk powder. You're quite right. Skim milk powder. Yep. Well done. I learned something. This doesn't have. This doesn't have. Remember, go for what you can do, not what you can't. So, but literally, the thing I was going to say was that I can, if I want something to taste sweet, for example, if I'm trying to create a dish, but I want it to have a sweet and sour taste, sometimes I'll add some strawberry, no sugar added strawberry jam to it. And it's amazing what you can do with things like that. I'm actually going to be trying some other things. Vegan cream cheese with some jam. That even sounds tasty. All right. So a really good question to ask, though. Well done, Autumn. And I think we're all learning different ways. I need to get out of here. I've got a life and I've got a broadcast to do this evening. All right. So Kez is saying fruit smoothies with coconut water. And you can use that mixture to make popsicles. Yeah. And so I would say, Autumn, start a new hobby. All right. Which is, create that journey. Start, start making your own recipes. Jody will tell you, I've done all sorts of recipes for myself. I hardly ever eat potatoes anymore. And the sad thing is, I've got them all growing outside. I've got, stacks of potatoes growing outside in my garden because I learned how to grow them this year. And I hardly ever eat them. But what I do know is I can eat half a potato a day, and it's okay. All right, you made sugar-free, dairy-free chocolate bars. It was gross. Then you found out how not to make them. See, I wouldn't look at the one that was gross. I'd go, that's what Edison, who invented the light bulb, Autumn. You know what he said? He failed to make that light bulb. He reckoned over 30,000 times. He failed. But each time he said, I found out another way it doesn't work, which means I've got less ways to trust until it does. So when you do one of those things and go, that was gross, I don't like that, go, okay, I haven't found the right recipe yet. I want to tell you, when Jody first introduced me to almond flour, I'm going, yeah, right, I'm going to be using that. I'm amazed how many times I will mix almond flour and regular flour just so I can reduce my flour content. Right? I still want the stuff that I can make with flour, but I will actually cut it 50-50 sometimes. So it's not about what you can't do, it's about what you can. And Jody is a great resource, Autumn, for things that you can do. All right. So let's keep that conversation going. And maybe keep asking the questions so that we know that's things that people are interested in. All right, I'm out of here. Dear Mama Sal, I first of all want to make sure that we thank Crystal for her bravery and her courage for coming in and talking about such a difficult subject. I will never be able to explain to her how her talking about it will help so many people for so many years to come. This is very selfish, but you have no idea how many people you will help by having had that conversation. And please continue to do it. All right, Kimmy, have a good day as well. I want to thank you all for being here to support Crystal, and hopefully she will come back and we will continue to be able to help her the way that we did Jody. And look where that has led. And the same way as you continue to support me. So remember to look after one another, because we all need support. But most of all, please remember to look after yourself. And that takes courage, and it takes time, and it takes the fact that you have to say, I am important enough, and the rest of the world just needs to just take a little break now, because I am going to stop and do nothing. That's my learning. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, we'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific. Bye-bye for now.